Hi, Namika.
Yeah,
Um,
this is crazy.
yeah, I think we just had an internet outage here.
Yeah, so I think we just had an outage on the internet, and so
Oh, there you go.
hello
Hello. Hi.
Emily, welcome
Yes.
back.
Thank you. Thank you. So I can go ahead and take it from here with a conversation with my dear colleague, Mr. Femi. Uh, I always joke around. We work for a school of technology, and technology always seems to surprise us just at the moment we need it most. So, but we're going to keep on going. And so I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Mr. Femi. Mr. Femi is the MEST X Programs Director at MEST Africa. He has over 30 years of experience in the tech industry, including at executive levels in multinational organizations. He's worked extensively in the telecoms and financial services sectors, as well as in the tech startup ecosystem. He has two MBA degrees, along with his strong technical background, and is passionate about driving the economic growth in Africa using technology and entrepreneurship. So we're really excited to jump into a conversation today about Mr. Femi's experience in AI and what he sees as the opportunities for startup entrepreneurs. Um, so, a very warm welcome to you, Mr. Femi. Happy to
Thank you
have
very
this
much.
conversation with you today. So, Mr. Femi, you've been at the forefront of fintech, telco, and AI adoption for over 2 decades, from building some of Nigeria's first electronic wallet services to leading AI initiatives at IBM. So, when you look back, what are the biggest technology shifts you witnessed, and what do they tell you about where AI is headed today?
Yeah, thank you very much, Emily. And nice to be here today. Um, just let's not go too far back and say maybe the past 10 years. The biggest shifts I think we've seen are one is cloud. And cloud everything as cloud storage, cloud computing, and cloud services. Um, the next two, should I say, probably go hand in hand, which will be blockchain related to crypto, as well as now AI. I think these are the biggest shifts. And if you've seen, they have all kind of transformed the way we work, the way we live. I mean, it's so comfortable now to work with Google Suits and not have to have my spreadsheet running on my laptop. So I think these are the biggest shifts I have seen in recent times. I mean, specific to Africa, the mobile phone revolution I think has been significant. Followed so GSM follows closely by smartphone introduction have helped Africa. I think these are the big shifts that I've seen that are very notable in terms of their impact.
Thank you, Mr. Femi. As part of those evolutions in technology, obviously AI is on everybody's radar today. And Andrew just gave us some great pointers on how startups can integrate AI into their businesses, the way that it's transformed his own way of doing research. And so lots of folks know it's important and they want to know how they can leverage it, where to start. But I'm wondering from your perspective, as someone who's worked in the tech space for a long time, who's been looking at these tools for years, how do you think founders should think about AI adoption? Um, whether it's from quick productivity to maybe deep business differentiation. What do you think are the spaces that they can consider use of AI in their startups today?
Yeah, I think the first thing I'd like to just bring out there is that AI is not new. The name is new, but the technology is not new. AI technology or machine learning is at least probably 70 years old. So we have friends or colleagues who studied actuarial science, for example. Actuarial science is really what we call AI today. I worked in a telco for a long time in my career. I think probably about 15 years altogether, either as a telco staff or as a service provider working with IBM supporting Airtel, in Nigeria and across Africa. And telcos run on data. Every single activity you carry out with your phone, even if it's just moving around, is generating data. And all of this data, they're important to us in the telco space. So we mine that data. There's a big process of gathering the data, warehousing them, data warehouses, for example, and then making sense out of the data using different kinds of analytics, including even predictive analytics. This is what we've done in the telcos for years. Fraud management systems that are built to analyze patterns in call records and predict or determine whether they're fraud or not are being built on AI, or machine learning. It's not new. So I think it's good to be careful not to be carried away by the fad or the buzz, but to open your eyes and really look at what opportunities it brings to you. But also the other side to it is, it's also good if you do have AI in your business or your product to say it, because there's some people that are listening. Andrew just told us that an AI startup got acquired for $600 million. So there are investors who are out there looking for AI businesses or AI-enabled businesses to invest in. So it's good. Don't get carried away, but also know how to use it and catch on the opportunity. The other bit is when you say my business is AI-enabled, AI-powered. AI is such a big word, covers so many things. So if you are not knowledgeable about AI and you just use it as a buzzword, you may be putting yourself in a disadvantaged position, because somebody could ask you, okay, what's AI? Right? And it's actually good to say, if you say it's AI powered, then go ahead and say exactly what AI it is. Is it a language model that I'm leveraging? Is it visual recognition that I'm leveraging? Is it generative AI that I'm leveraging? And how am I leveraging it? How does it make my business different from the others? The other thing is, because of open source and a lot of big tech doing breakthrough things in AI and open sourcing them, you need to really be either creative or have deep engineering skills and capabilities to differentiate yourself in AI. But yes, if you have a great idea as a startup, it's okay to use the same models, because if you're using the same models as everybody, you may not be differentiated, or it may be easy for somebody to copy what you're doing. However, if in your roadmap, even if you don't have the money or the capacity now, you can put in your roadmap to actually build capabilities for deep engineering, to go deeper into, should I say, the engine room of AI. So if I will just do like an architecture of AI. So there's a consumer level of AI, which is pretty much available to everybody. There's a substrate right below the consumer level, which is a bit technical, but a lot of the open source models, trained models are sitting there. You will be definitely better than somebody who is at the consumer level, but also your product can easily be copied and replicated. But there's also the engineering behind the models. I'm glad to hear that Andrew studied mathematics and statistics. AI is all about maths and statistics. And it's just people refining the mathematical models better and better and better to make it a lot more efficient. So if you actually want to really be differentiated and be in that place where very few people can copy, Then you take a step lower as well and begin to build the knowledge around how the models work, how they are built, the mathematics behind it. And I think this will immediately begin to position you different. If I may just drop one last thing, because founders are wondering, how will I compete in this situation, in this space where there are big players all spending money? I mean, we know some founders that created a product that was revolutionary at the time, leveraging language models, and then 8 months later, ChatGPT was launched, and their business, kind of practically went bust because somebody with really big muscles has come into their space and crowded them out. But the good thing of being in Africa, and I'm sure you see in other parts of the world, is that big players always have either blind spots or dark spots. So, as a small player in a space where there are giants, you may actually want to begin to look out for those dark spots. For example, I think there are languages in Ghana, for example, that are probably spoken by maybe about, I don't know, 2,000 people, 5,000, 10,000 people. You could actually build a product for such and begin to look at, those kind of dark spots and build products for them, and then begin to scale it little by little. Don't do a head-on confrontation with the big players, but go to their dark spots and build your businesses there. And then when you think you've built enough capacity, you can now come out on the open. Here are some thoughts I have.
Those are really fantastic insights, Mr. Femi. Thank you. I think that being very intentional about the AI adoption piece is something that folks should take with them. I really also appreciate that blind spots and dark spots, like that there are opportunities out there that people are not looking at and that you have close proximity to and the ability to tackle, and opportunities you can leverage there. I want to shift a little bit to this piece of data. I think when folks are talking about AI, they're also talking a lot about data, and then often the conversation comes, especially across the continent, on the gaps in data and access to data and how that may be hindering some development. But knowing a bit about your background, I know that you have been in situations where you had limited access to data and you found creative ways of still developing systems and products in that space. So if you can share with us a bit about how startups can work in spaces where they seemingly think that they have data gaps, and what are some creative lessons you've learned along the way as you've tackled the same challenge.
Yeah, thank you very much, Emily. So yes, AI thrives on data because you need data to build or to train the models. And one example where I had a data gap was with a bank. This was I think, either late 2018 or early 2019, that wanted me to build a model to show how IBM Watson could predict the impact of application downtime. So if there was an application, for example, something that processes ATM transactions that failed, how much money would they lose? Now, usually for every one of us, we have experience when you come into a new space, and you can always call on something from your experience to help you solve that problem that you're facing in a new space. So in my experience, I'd worked in the telcos, I've worked in a telco, I'd worked in a bank and in financial services, and I understood how transaction volumes grow and shrink based on the time of day, the time of the week, or the day of the week, or the day in the month, or the month of the year. At Christmas, everything goes up because it's end of the year festivity period. January comes down. In the morning at 8 a.m., 6 to 8 a.m., transaction volumes go up. And then from around 2, it goes down and then begins to climb up again from around 3, till 6, 7, and then begins to go till it gets dark in the middle of the night. So I understood this. And the bank, of course, wouldn't give me their customer data to use to build my model. So I created my own data. I created a year's worth of data, adding these variabilities into it, how it varies on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on on a weekend, through the month. It wasn't perfect, but it was good enough for me to be able to train the model to predict. Remember, it's about predictions. I was trying to prove that you could predict how much money you would lose if your banking application went down at 7 p.m. on a Friday night, and it was Easter period. So you can always create your own data, and I did all of this on a spreadsheet. you know then another scenario, this was not my example, but another a startup that was trying to build a product that used imaging, for medical purposes, and it was too expensive for them to build, to even gather the data, the imaging data in Africa or in Ghana. But what they did, they had some imaging data, but it wasn't enough to build to the level of accuracy they did. So they got imaging models already built from the US, for example, that was open, and then use what was called transfer learning to use Ghanaian data to train those models and improve the accuracy. So they have not spent the money of trying to gather the data from scratch, but they have been able to leverage what somebody else has done that was open source, but localize it, if I may say, using local data to get a high level of accuracy. So here are some things that I think startups can explore.
Thank you, Mr. Femi. I love those stories because it shows that both you and the startup you talked about are leveraging the resources they have, the knowledge they have, instead of just seen as like, it's a blockade, we can't move forward. And you often see that the startups that are committed to finding a way, right? The quote of, if there's a will, there's a way, and leveraging the resources they do have, there are a lot of opportunities to get around the seeming blocks to building AI startups. So thank you for that. And then the other thing we often hear, so people will say there's data challenges, access to data, and we're not denying there isn't, there is. But the other thing is finances. That comes up right away. And we all know that AI is expensive, and the infrastructure for building AI products is very expensive. And so from your experience in the field, what can a startup with limited funding do to balance their ambition of building an AI startup with the reality of the costs, and where do you recommend they start?
Yeah, thanks, Emily. So I think a good place to start would be also to acknowledge that AI is not only expensive, but also makes things cheaper, makes some things cheaper. For example, if I wanted to build an app that had AI capabilities, there's the app building part before the AI part. So I could leverage no code, for example, no code technologies, that's a capability that's now being provided by AI, to build some of my app, with little to no expenses and little to no experience, as a developer. So as a founder that is not a developer, I can build, to some level with no code, at least for maybe at the very early MVP stage. And then what I need a developer for will be much less than if I had to pay a developer to build the entire thing. So I could begin to optimize my own internal systems and production by leveraging AI tools to make things cheaper, so that I have more money to spend on the more important things. So this is one thing. The other thing is that there's already a lot of open source tools available. I remember back then, IBM, for a lot of the things that you want to do, IBM published code patterns. And I just went all of this. So there's developer.ibm.com, there's developer.google.com, and there's a lot of open source code patterns that people have published as to do what you want to do. So really, many founders don't need to start from scratch. You could actually take something that somebody else has done, which moves you, if you had 10 steps to take, maybe moves you like step 3 to like step 3, and then you only need to build from there. The other thing about in products is, the word MVP is not supposed to be a buzzword. It is the real life of a founder. Minimum viable proposition, minimum or minimum viable product. So the word minimum, is something we need to think about very seriously, because if you were going to try to build more than a minimum, of course it's going to cost you a lot more. And of course, it's forgotten that it has to be viable. So you need to also look at your roadmap. Say, maybe I need to have 5 AI or machine learning engineers on my team to build the product I want to build today. Can I start with something smaller and then have a roadmap, that says, well, I can start today with this MVP, but I will add that capability in a year and a half's time, by when I will have made some money, or I'll be able to show enough proof that it works to get investors in, even if they're really, really very early stage investors, to now be able to hire the AI engineer in a year's time. So I think these are practical ways that founders can actually begin to deal with the issue of money. Money is a problem, but it's not. There are ways to get around that problem, very creative ways to get around that problem. Yeah, thanks, Emily.
Thank you. So I'm going to highlight some of the key things you said so people take them away. And that is, remember what an MVP truly is, that AI is expensive, but it can also save you money, and that you can leverage the resources that are already out there. And then the roadmap piece is huge, right? I think we want to go big fast, and we forget that it takes steps and it takes a very intentional roadmap. So thank you for those. In our conversations that we have had, we have discussed a bit about the challenges and opportunities in AI. And we know that there are some privacy, ethics, and capability gaps. And this is a common conversation in the field. And that there are some risks that we should all be aware of. So from your perspective, are there some risks that African startups should be aware of, and how would you suggest that they might prepare for the uncharted territory of AI?
Yeah, there are definitely very huge risks involved. Unfortunately, many of them we can't even control, because data is such, I don't know how to say, such a free asset that we all give it out freely, and you trying to use what in terms looks like free data, you do not know whether you're already stepping on some regulatory feet, as in the manner of speaking. So first is to be aware that there are risks. Aware that there are risks of you letting out your data, aware that there are risks of you using other people's data, and be knowledgeable about it. Different countries have different data privacy regulations. Ghana has, and if you're a player in Ghana, you definitely need to know what the regulatory landscape is for data and data privacy in Ghana. If you are going to Europe or in America, there's a GDPR in Europe. I don't know what it's called in the US, but very strong data privacy regulation. So if you were going to be using data from Europe, or you were going to selling your product in Europe, you need to be aware of these things. The other is maybe just ensure that you have very good legal support, either as friends that you can call to ask what do you think, or if you have enough money, actually have a sort of retainership, because things are really vague and evolving at this time. I mean, I'll give an example. There are some countries that don't appear not to be ethical in how they are going about AI and machine learning and things. And some other countries are saying, well, if that country is not ethical, why should I allow myself to be left behind? Because I'm trying to put controls in place. So it's really a very dicey and shifty space right now. But important to be aware of the new regulations that are coming in, be aware of what's already there, be aware of whose data you're using, and what kind of regulations cover it. Of course, from an ethical perspective, this is really personal. The compromises you make today define you. And I think it's really a matter of who we want to be. Success financially or in the society is not always personal success. So in the area of ethics, I guess it's now who do you want to be. Thanks, Emily.
That's a powerful point to close that question on. I think holding on to your integrity as a founder and really what you are about over maybe what looks like advantage in your startup. So thank you for that good reminder, Mr. Femi. And now to shift to kind of a also optimistic view, looking at the next maybe 3 to 5 years ahead, where do you see the most promising opportunities for African startups in AI, and how can they really position themselves to lead instead of lag in the field? People are talking about, it's already so advanced and it's hard to catch up, but I don't know if we believe that. I think there's lots of opportunities still, so I'd be happy to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I like to be very positive. Whether we can lead in AI is a very big question, but maybe we can lead in some segments of AI. I mean, I'll give an example. There is I don't know if I'm allowed to mention names, but I would say I won't in this case. But there's a Ghanaian founder who I would call the grandfather of machine learning in Ghana. He, even when AI wasn't popular, he had been building his models in his niche area. It's a niche area, and he's become well known and well respected and recognized globally in that space. I mean, I would say, judging, there probably are not more than 10 of him, all over the world. So in that niche area, I think he's leading. So maybe, I mean, while not thinking about leading in the whole of AI, we can begin to define spaces that, again, there are dark spaces. Not everybody, even with all the money, that you can't look at everywhere at the same time. So identify those dark spaces of opportunity and begin to build. Plus, even with all the money, it takes time, it takes intentionality, it takes a lot of effort to become really highly specialized in a space. So Africa, we can actually look at, instead of trying to beat, the Western world, begin to look at maybe narrow spaces where we develop like very high levels of specialization that the world will just have to look and stand up, and acknowledge. This is my thinking. I mean, I think Andrew is one of the leading voices in AI because he has taken time also to go really, really deep in that space. So this is my maybe advice to fellow Africans or African founders. Don't try and do big things. Try and do small things, but really go deep, 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 because then you will be recognized.
Go deep, deep, deep. I hope everybody heard that. So, quote Mr. Femi there, please, on that one. It's very important. Continue, stay committed to learning and growing as the field evolves. Stay up to date, continue to explore, and I think hold on. I think something we see with startups is those that have the grit, the perseverance to ride those waves. Often find their way at a time. So thank you, Mr. Femi, for that. I want to, before we close, I want to give an opportunity to answer some questions. So if you have questions and you're watching, please drop them in the chat and I will ask Mr. Femi those questions. And Mr. Femi, one came in while you were speaking, and so maybe we can start with that one. And then we'll see if others come in. So somebody asked us, how can I get a team to build my startup idea with me? And before I hand it over to you, I'll just put a plug in for the MEST AI Startup Program, which we mentioned at the beginning. If you are interested in building a startup and moving forward in software entrepreneurship, please take a look at meltwater.org to learn more about our AI startup program. But I also think opportunities like the Africa Startup Festival, where you can network and connect with other like minds, is an amazing opportunity to find potential founders. And Mr. Femi, from your experience working with so many founders, what are some other ways folks can find potential co-founders?
Yeah, maybe what you didn't say, Emily, is that in our training program now, the AI startup program, team formation is one of the very first things that we do. So if you were looking to build a team, definitely you want to try and get into the program. Um, uh, but in addition to that, there's so many things to consider in forming a team. You know, um, at the end of the day, even if it is AI or any other business, it is still a business. So you need to find people with complementing capabilities. Not everybody needs to be an AI engineer, or a salesperson. You need to have a balance so that you can definitely build the product, but you can also go out and sell it. Um, um, when you don't have money, so I'm assuming the question is coming from somebody who is an early stage startup who doesn't have money. I mean, you might have money and that's a different thing. But when you don't have money, and you might want to consider in your team formation to bring people in as co-founders, because then they can throw in their lot and work for free in a manner of speaking. It's not for free, but work for a part of the company, to own a part of the company. What we typically do is when, say, three people come together to form a startup as co-founders, nobody has any shares at the beginning. You just have share allocations, and then as you contribute, based on how you define the contribution, those shares vest over a period of time. But in selecting co-founders, you need to bring people who share your values, who have integrity, and who have staying power. Because building businesses from scratch, especially tech businesses, is tough. Um, in building the team, also you need to also like understand. So it's a popular thing called team dynamics. Begin to understand how people can work, relate together, and understand those principles, because they will come in useful, because there'll be really difficult periods. And if you understand each other, if you know how to manage people, or if you understand relationship management, then you'll be able to go through those periods better and keep your eyes on the ball rather than on personality issues. But definitely, where possible, get somebody who has AI capabilities, even if they're not like a rocket science, AI scientist, but enough to be able to build your initial MVP, or even if enough to understand what needs to be done, even if you're going to outsource some of that building as well. So you need to have somebody who is technically capable, but you also need to have people who can hold on to the vision and help drive the vision. These are my thoughts.
Excellent. So we have a few more questions. I think I'm going to do rapid fire, Mr. Femi. So I'll ask and maybe we just quickly answer because we'll have to move on to the spotlight soon. And then maybe the ones we can't get to, I believe you can see the chat. So maybe a few of your thoughts in there would be helpful. So we'll start rapid fire. Daniel asks, how can spatial intelligence enhance the creation of multiple solutions in Africa? Sounds quite technical to me, so I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, even I don't know what spatial intelligence is. I sort of think that may have to do with geographical mapping and things like that. Unfortunately, Daniel, I don't have the answer to that question. I don't know what it is.
Yes, so maybe we can take that question offline. Please do reach out to us. We'd love to learn more about that as well. David asks, how do we use AI in a place like Ghana, where the majority of the population maybe are not as savvy with latest tech? So for example, how do you get people to use an app that has AI incorporated in it? Mr. Femi, I think you and I tackle these kind of things a lot. I would love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, so this is an interface problem you're talking about. And I think the constraint comes because of how we think about interfaces here. So you already talked about an app. So an app doesn't have to be something that sits on your phone. If you see an app as a bundle of capabilities that could reside either on a phone, on a computer, in the cloud, and then can be interfaced with anything. So you can now build interface for those people who are not tech savvy. For example, you could build an interface for somebody who could use text, could use USSD. They will still be accessing an AI app at the back end, but with USSD, with text, with the YAM phones, with voice. You could make a phone call, and in the interface is voice. You're speaking to a voice-enabled agent or a voice-enabled interface that can translate those the voice commands or the voice prompts into what the AI can understand at the back end. So there are many ways to solve interface problems, but I'm happy this is a topic I'm really interested in, so I can discuss more maybe offline.
All right, and our last question before we move to our spotlight, somebody is asking, is it okay to use a white label solution for your MVP while having your own unique solution in your roadmap? Mr. Femi, what are your
Absolutely.
thoughts?
Absolutely. This is what I mentioned earlier that you could actually use more open source products at the beginning, but know that that will not differentiate you because you can easily be copied. And then down the roadmap, you build capabilities to actually now begin to build your own and make it better even than the white labeled one that you have used. Yeah.
Awesome. There's a few more questions, Mr. Fumi, if you have time to maybe drop some thoughts in the chat. In the meantime, I want to thank you so much for your time and sharing your experience with us and providing really practical tips to all who are on the webinar today. So always a pleasure to speak with you, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you too.
Okay, thank you, Emily. Thank you, Femi. I think that was really amazing. And just to answer the question on spatial intelligence, just before we dive into the founder spotlight. So it's a big word, but typically it's pretty much all around being able to the skill to kind of picture things in your mind and kind of see how that can kind of fit and move or work together in space or in actual reality. And I think that, that how they can create solutions for us in Africa is kind of imagining different ways things can work and ways to fix them and choose the one that works best for each space. So breaking it down home is maybe you want to create a fintech solution, kind of imagining how that would work out and the perfect use case for that to happen. So just to answer that spatial intelligence question, and you can also reach out to us privately or after this if you kind of need extra support or extra help on that end. So once again, thank you, Femi, for that really interesting fireside. Thank you, Emily, for moderating that. So now we will dive straight into the founder spotlight. So for the webinar, we really wanted to not just talk and talk, but really kind of show you behind the scenes that were around founders and startups who are actively adapting and using AI to build interesting solutions. Some of these people that we are spotlighting now have raised millions, have built really interesting solutions, and I can't wait for them to tell you a bit more about what they're building. And you could see some opportunities or ways to work with them or collaborate with them, okay? So I'm gonna first of all open it up to Mubarak. A bit of context about Mubarak. So Mubarak is the co-founder and president of Exo AI in Mubarak, Somalia. He's a repeat fintech founder backed by Google and Techstars with about 8 years of startup experience. He has raised about $2 million in funding and secured partnerships with Visa, MasterCard, and Vodafone. I would allow Mubarak to kind of give us a bit about what he's building and kind of how that works. So Mubarak, please confirm you can hear us, and I think you
Yes,
can proceed. Okay.
I can hear you. Hello, everyone. It's really great to be on the call. Um, all right, so I would like to share my screen and show a pitch deck. So just give me a second. Let me do that. Okay, so share.
I think we can see a screen now.
My browser crashed when I tried to share screen, so I'm doing it
Okay.
now.
Welcome back.
Yes, thank you. Okay, is it working now?
It's good now. It's good.
Very good. Very cool.
All
Hello,
right. You
everyone.
have the floor.
Yes, my name is Smaila Mubarak. I'm gonna put this in full screen mode. Yeah, so I'm the co-founder and kind of like a director at Exo AI. I'm very sure you guys have probably heard about the company Bezo Money. We're one of the MEST portfolio companies, and um, we did a lot, kind of like over there. We raised 1.3 million. We're part of Techstars, Google for kind of like startups. We partner with Visa, Vodafone. So after some time of like running that business, we decided to basically evolve into Exo AI, where we're building a personal finance assistant that is powered by agentic AI. I was hiring a marketing manager yesterday, and I asked her to just pitch to me what Exo AI is in just like one sentence, and she was like, "Oh, this sounds like it's your kind of like finance bestie," right? So that's basically what we're trying to do. The mission we have is very simple. Most people use between 5 to 8 different finance apps, and we believe that you only need just one, right? Which is basically Exo AI. Yeah. So basically, it's a personal finance assistant that you could connect to all your different finance apps. So if you have so like bank apps, investment apps, bank accounts, you can connect everything. And then after that, you can access anything about your money. How much you spent last week, how much you spent on food, how much you spent on kind of like Uber, all of these different things, and it would basically tell you. And then the other thing is you can ask it to do things for you, like send money to so like a friend, help you move money from one savings account to like your maybe current account. You can basically ask it for that. And then the last thing is that if you're looking for a certain kind of finance product, let's say you want a certain kind of savings, like product that yields maybe 5% per kind of annum interest, you could ask it, and then it would basically refer you to certain products that really work for you. So we want to have everything in one place. So in the future, you just need this one AI. You don't need to use like multiple finance apps. If you want to know exactly what's happening with your bank accounts, if you want to send money, if you want to use a certain kind of savings product or maybe investment product, XOAI is there to kind of help you with that. Yeah, so these are the different things that it does. So the first thing, like I was saying before, is you can connect all your different accounts, or your kind of like different finance apps, and then you can get insights. So I have this thing where I would go to the bank every single so like month and go get my bank statement and come and sit down and be like trying to understand what happened right within that month. And I realized that was really tedious, and I'm sure a lot of people, you guys have different finance apps as well, and it's really stressful to get insights across all of these different apps, right? And so with this, you can just use your voice. You can just ask it, or you could just text it. So it's more like ChatGPT, but for kind of like personal finance, right? So and then the other thing is what I was saying. You can ask it to send money to like help you save money, invest money. It could help you do all of that. And if you have certain kind of subscriptions on your bank account. Sometimes you send money to your kind of like bank account, and you check back in 30 minutes and it's been wiped out, and you're like, what happened? Who took the money out, right? So you can help find all of these things from the bank statements, and then it can also help you cancel them. And then the final thing is you can create budgets and also savings goals, and then it can basically help you keep track of them. So about 80 million young Africans are stressed about money. I'm sure we all are. And then we are also underserved by like most tools that are basically out there. So about 60% of the continent's population is under the age of 25 years, and by 2050, this number is going to go up to 900 million young people, right? And about 40% of them use ChatGPT, right? So we saw all of this, and we realized that it was really at the right time to basically launch this. Yeah. So in terms of how we make money, there are four different levels. So there's one tier where we don't make any money at all, where you can just use everything. You can ask it various questions. The second layer is where we charge you $5 a month. So at this stage, you can use some of these like agentic AI features. It could help you move money, save money, invest money, cancel subscriptions. And then if you have a business account, I don't know if I think in Nigeria, there are quite a number of kind of like startups that basically offer these kind of business accounts. You can use something like this for your business accounts, as well. And then the final thing is when we so through the different partnerships that we're going to have, we're going to refer you to kind of like different finance products, right? So when we do that and you sign up for the app, or for that like service product, we're going to charge it at a $2 fee from the business. So basically, yeah. So everything happens within this one app. You don't have to use all of those like different apps anymore. It's a very large market. It's really huge. There's a very large youthful population here, as I kind of said before. And fintech here is also really really huge. The market size is basically going to be $65 billion by 2030, and there's been about $1 trillion in kind of like mobile money payments. And in terms of the group that we think would jump on this really like easily, readily, that's about 180 million people, and that's the Gen Z millennial population that we can target in the serviceable addressable market. Yeah, so we have about 46,000 waitlist users. We've been selected for OpenAI startup program, and we've raised about $100,000 so far into like funding. Um, so this is how we intend to go to market. The first thing is we're going to convert some of the waitlist people, and then the second thing is we have something called Exo Cruise on the app where you can invite your friends and kind of like help. You can track your goals with them. You can track your kind of like finances with them. It's something we kind of like put in place to get you to basically invite people to the app. If you've seen that kind of virality formula, right? That key is there to basically help us increase that. And then we're going to be partnering with a lot of finance apps. To kind of like if you need to use someone's product, we can serve that to you within our own app. But in terms of helping you connect to all of these different, if you have all of these different accounts, there are some companies that offer services like that. I think there's a company called Mono that does that. So we intend to basically connect with them, so that you can basically have access to all of those your different apps, and then connect them to Exo AI. And then we're gonna have certain kinds of like in-app referral schemes where you can invite your friends to the app and then make some money. And then we partner with various influencers, to help us tap into that Gen Z millennial population. Yeah, so this is what our growth would look like. For Q4, we're looking to make 15. We're looking to make 20K from about 15,000 users, and then for next year we're looking at 250K, and to make about $1 million. And then by 2029, we're looking at having 8 million users and making about $72 million in total revenue. Yeah, so this is what makes us really different. I'm sure you've seen all of these different finance apps out there, the likes of Kuda, Cheaper Cash, and all of these guys. So we have this mental model where we kind of like categorize them into this 2D category. So we are kind of like 3D, and what that means is that for a lot of these apps, when you're trying to access them, you basically sign up. You press a lot of buttons to basically sign up, and then you end up signing in. And then if you want to do something, you have to press a button. You have to press, okay, send money, enter the amount and all of these different things. But with us, with the 3D model, you don't have to do any of that. You just have to sign up, and then you just talk to the kind of like AI. You don't need to press a lot of buttons to do anything. Just speak, just text and then speak, right? And so I think that's one of the things that makes us really different from all of the kind of like apps that are out there. We're built. The AI is the foundation of the entire product, right? It's not being used for like customer service on the app, as you might see with a lot of these different finance apps. The AI is literally the entire foundation of the whole app. And then the other thing is there's a behavioral kind of like coaching element where it could help you actually manage money better. If you set a certain spending limit and you're spending past that, it will tell you that, hey, you said you were going to spend $5,000 this month. You're doing 10K. That's insane, right? So it would help coach you. And then the third thing is the support for so like voice and also text, so you could talk to it just like ChatGPT. And then the last thing is because of how we're built, we're not really offering any kind of financial services. It's more of a financial advisor. The barriers to kind of like scaling is very low. Because we're allowing you to bring all your different apps to this one app, and this app is helping you manage those different apps. So we don't need a lot of license. We actually don't need a license to scale to many different African countries. And I think that's the part that I sort of like a lot because I've dealt with getting licenses, and it's not very fun, right? So that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in terms of our plans, so for early for Q4 this year, we're planning to scale to Nigeria. We'll launch here and then scale there. We're actually looking to launch in those two different markets at the same time. And you're gonna have Exo for kind of like personal use, and you can connect all your different accounts to it. And then the next layer is where we go to East Africa. At that point, we're going to introduce all of these agentic AI features. And then the year after, we're going to go to South Africa, Ethiopia. We're going to have Exo for kind of business. And then we're gonna have a lot of these agentic AI features like budget enforcement, payment scheduling, And then the last year we're gonna go to North Africa, and we're gonna also include different African languages so that you can speak in some of these different languages. And at that point, we're gonna have a lot more agentic AI features. So there's gonna be cash flow management, debt management. If you owe someone and you need to figure out a way to pay, have a plan. It could help you plan all of these different things. And we're gonna have Exo AI for also teens. So if you have a kid, it could kind of like help you manage, help the kid manage kind of like how to manage money when they grow up. So there's me. That's me on the side. So yeah, I've done a lot of things which are down here. And there's also Andrew. I think Andrew spoke earlier. So we're just bringing him on board to kind of like help us build this from the technical side. And then there's Shara, who I've known for a very long time. She was one of my company advisors before. She worked for this company called Telesign. She was very active in Silicon Valley, back in the early 2000s. And also, she was also in Ghana for some time. She was part of the people that helped launch the whole IT.com thing here. And we have these advisors
Yeah.
that basically supports us. There's Matt Vale. He works at OpenAI actually. And then there's Ben. Ben works for a family office called 1080 Capital. And then there's John, who works for this firm called Los Altos Advisors. And then there's Mel. Melissa, I think a lot of folks would know her on this call. She was the portfolio manager at MEST. She schooled in Stanford, worked in Stanford,
Okay.
helped launch Stanford C. So I think this is about fundraising, and this is the last slide. All right. So yeah. So this is my email. That's my phone number. And the mission we have is to basically empower 900 million young Africans
Okay.
using yeah kind of like AI. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's yeah. Thank you.
All right. Great. Thank you, Mubarak. I don't know if this was a technical glitch, but we did not see your screen, but
Oh
somehow
really?
we're able to follow through. So you could just maybe just drop in your email on
Okay, got it.
the in-call messages so that in the chat, I mean, so we can, if folks who do want to reach out to you, they can reach out to you
Okay.
if that's okay. So thank you, Mubarak. Really amazing thing that you're doing, and congrats on joining the Open AI program. Really interesting. So the next founder that we have spotlighting is Zeno Precious. Precious Zeno and ASF, we have some history, and I'll share it in a bit. So earlier this year, we did an event. It was a pitch battle with AWS, and I think that was also Data Melon in Ghana. We co-created it with, sorry, in Lagos, I mean, with Data Melon, and she was the winner of the Lagos pitch battle, right? And so there was the Ghana one, the San Francisco one, but the one in Lagos, she won it, and it's great to have Zeno as well once again today. So a bit of a background. So she founded Yuri, which is an AI-driven social listening and lead gen tool that leverages tech to help African businesses sell smarter. She would know how best to kind of portray this, so I'll just allow her to give us a bit of more insight as to what she does and how she thinks Yuri would be a game changer.
All right, thank you so much. So excited to be here, honestly. I'll also share my screen in a bit, so just let me know when you can see my screen.
Definitely. So just so you know, you have 10 minutes, okay? 5 to 10 minutes. Let's.
All right, then. Okay, I'll
Okay.
do that.
Thank you. All right, we can see your screen.
Great. Okay, hello everybody. My name is Precious. I'm excited to be here. I'm co-founder and I am Chief Operating Officer at Yuri. So what we do essentially at Yuri is that we're leveraging AI to help businesses sell smarter. We Yuri identify opportunities and we generate leads and we ensure that businesses know where to sell, who to sell to, and how to sell to them. So one thing that we have understood and we've seen in the markets that it is really difficult for businesses to find their ideal customers and to connect with them directly. Navigating the sales maze can be quite a hassle, right? For B2B businesses, difficulties with who to reach out to, identifying their customers and how to reach out to them, it's a struggle. And for B2C businesses, the manual research and targeting marketing campaigns is often time consuming and sometimes ineffective. We see businesses spending a lot of money on ads, we see businesses spending a lot of time creating content that might not convert and not knowing how to find people who are either already talking about needing their solution, talking about problems that they are facing, or just even outside crying for help. I need a product. A clear use case will be what we always say about PiggyVest. The story of PiggyVest is that they simply listened to a conversation on social media. Nigerians were complaining about the struggles of savings, right? They are struggling to find a saving app or platforms where they can just save. And PiggyVest took up that problem and they solved it and now selling to people. And it's now a multi-million-dollar business. So that's what Yuri really is solving. Yuri is your sales powerhouse, right? What you can do with Yuri, a clear use case is that you can come on the platform, type in find me customers. See, I'm a startup who sells tech services. Find me customers or find me people who are interested in tech services. Yuri goes through social media, goes to the internet and find you people who are already publicly having these conversations or complaining about a problem that you're solving already. We detect these sales signals and then we identify it and then we let you know these are sales opportunities that you can, this is how you can speak to them, this is how you can reach out to them, craft a message for you to send to them, and that's it. You are notified every single time every single time there's a customer online that you can sell to, allowing your business to respond immediately and to convert leads, reach your customers before your competitor does. So, like I mentioned, it's from data to action. We scan the platform, we identify the sales signals, the intent. We categorize it into high lead, into a medium lead. If it's a partnership opportunity, if it's a sales opportunity, if it's someone you can advise and tell about your business, we tell you how you can sell to these people. We deliver the leads to you, and you engage them, and you simply sell. So that's how Yuri works. So beyond lead generation, you can do other things with Yuri. So these are three ways that you can automate your marketing and sales effort with Yuri. The first one is lead generation, the second one is content marketing, and the next one is sales follow-up and onboarding. With content marketing, we've built something really interesting that allows you have conversation with your marketing data. So for instance, if you're carrying out a campaign on LinkedIn or a campaign on Instagram, right? And it's not going as planned. It's your content is really not converting. What do? You simply come on Yuri and say, this is the campaign we're running. Why is it not converting? What is the stats like? And Yuri gives you answers. Yuri tells you how to do it better. Yuri tells you what to do better and how to do it better and how to create content that actually converts. And also, like I mentioned, lead generation and the sales follow up and onboarding. So we understand for businesses in Africa that you that building is one, right? But reaching your customer is another thing. How do you reach your customer faster? How do you sell to them before your competitor does? We are ensuring that you're selling smarter and not harder. So it's time to sell smart. And Yuri is that unfair advantages that we're giving to African businesses and businesses across the world. Yuri helps you listen, Yuri helps you speak, and with combined efforts, your product can reach the entire world. I don't know if I still have a little bit of time. I would also love to do, just show a quick demo of what you can do with the platform, at least one or two things you can do with the platform. So, or just very briefly. So this is our lead generation. Over here, you can find individual leads. Um, Let me just show you how that works. So you can come here and say you are looking for a specific kind of people. Find for African Startup Festival, we want startups to come to the event, right? Find startups who in Lagos, startup founders in Lagos. You can be as specific with your location, the kind of people you want to reach, if you want them within a specific industry. What Yuri does is we identify these people and we connect you to them. You update your form, and in a matter of 2 to 3 minutes, that's it. You are connected with people who will buy your product. You can reach out to them on social media platforms, on LinkedIn, across the internet, as long as their information is available, and sell to them immediately. And then the next one I would love to show you is our social listening. Conversational lead form. Reach out to people who are directly complaining about problems that you're already solving. So, for instance, with this, I'll just show you what we have generated with this. So, these are people having conversations about different things, and Yuri identifying this the problems that they're already solving. Let me show you what a high lead looks like. So for a business for a crowdfunding business, they simply come into Yuri and say, find us people who need our crowdfunding app, who need our crowdfunding product. And they put that on Yuri, and Yuri identifies this opportunity. This is someone who says, oh, I'm raising funds for medical bills. This is someone that platform can sell to and say, you know what, we have a solution for you. We have something that you can use. Sell to them immediately, because these people are at a different stage, a different journey of their problems. They've identified their problem and they're looking for solutions. So we make it easier for businesses to sell by connecting them to their ideal customers at the right time and even before their competitors. I think the goal really is to ensure that that Yuri is a go-to platform for sales and marketing intelligence in Africa and across the world. So if you're looking for that tool that will help you sell smarter, that'll help you sell better, that'll help you sell faster, I think Yuri is your go-to. And you can simply type yuricreative.com on your web browser, or you can send me a mail, send me a DM on LinkedIn, at Precious Zeno, or send me email at precious.zeno@juricreative.com.
Okay, thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you, Zina. I think that was amazing. Being able to just kind of search up, leads and reach out to them in real time. I think that's really interesting, and I think would be a major gold mine for business dev teams, early stage founders, sales teams. Please, look out for Yuri and sign up ASAP. So, Zina, you could drop in your email if you want people to reach out to you, as well as the website on the chat, and happy to have people reach out to you. So I think that this was really interesting. This was an amazing webinar. So we have somewhat come to the end of the webinar. Earlier in the day, Andrew kind of walked you through how you can maximize AI in scaling solutions, and and deploying it in your business. And Emily and Femi went deeper into the actual technical use cases, and I think that was really interesting. This is pretty much the aim of the webinar, to kind of show you in real time some of the interesting solutions that people are building with AI, and also more importantly, show you how you can win and also scale and grow with AI. And I think if we've done our work well, you should be leaving this YouTube webinar with some actionable strategies and actionable things to do next. So do connect with us, ASF. If you're in Lagos, or you're in Nairobi, or you're in any part of the world, do check out the Africa Startup Festival, which is happening in Nairobi on October 30th, and in Lagos on November 28th. And if you do want to reach out to us and connect with us, I'm available. The team is available to, chat with you. And yeah, I guess I'll call it a day there. I'm just gonna hand over to Emily to close the webinar for us.
Thank you, Clinton, and thank you for the opportunity to partner. This has been a really great session. I'm so happy to have all of you join us. Please do stay connected, as Clinton said, and you can also find us at meltwater.org and join our newsletter for upcoming events and opportunities. And don't forget to check out our AI startup program. We're so excited to watch what you all do out in the world, and we're rooting for you. So thank you for your time, and we wish you a great rest of your day and a great weekend ahead.
Definitely. Take care, guys, and have a good one.